Hello and welcome back to today's lesson on the respiratory system. Again, I have my friend with me, Clarence. Clarence, I had to really talk into coming along this time because after our discussion about the digestive system, he really felt quite gutted. Today we're going to talk about the respiratory system. Clarence hasn't volunteered, he's been instructed to help along. In these tough times that we are in, Clarence is just going to pull his weight. Clarence, let's see where our respiratory system begins. As you know, because you've all done your Education Perfect lessons, you know that our respiratory system starts, as you have seen before, up here in the nasal cavity. You may or may not be able to see, and I think you should probably be able to see, that right at the back there, the nasal cavity joins to the back of the mouth. Now, in the back there, at the top, is where the pharynx or the throat begins. And that continues all the way down through the throat to around about, come back to me, Clarence, to around about here. Now, that's your vocal cords. And just behind that, you'll find your larynx, and that's where your throat splits into two. And one half of it goes, like we were talking about yesterday, down through your esophagus into your stomach, and the other part goes down through your larynx into your lungs. Today we're talking the respiratory system, therefore we're going to be going down and into the lungs, bringing air in and out of our lungs, and this is how it's done. Starting at the nasal cavity, down through the pharynx or the throat, to the larynx, where the throat splits in two, sends food one way and air the other. Sorry again, Clarence, but we're going to have to pull your lungs apart a little bit here. We'll take that one out there. We'll take that one out there. And for the respiratory system, I don't think we need your heart either. Yesterday, that section there, which was the esophagus, but today we're talking about the larynx, okay, which runs right down to that point there. And at that point there, it breaks off into two parts. And those two parts, that one there and that one there, are called the bronchi. That's B-R-O-N-C-H-I. From the bronchi, we run down and into here. And what I'll do I need to pull that out? I think I'll zoom in on it. Okay, so as you can see, the bronchi runs in and breaks into all these little bronchioles. And they're sort of like a tree, like an upside down tree. You've got the trunk, which is the larynx, you've got the split or the fork in the tree, which is the bronchi, and then all of the smaller branches, they're your bronchiole, and they're all in that area there, and they spread out through the entire lung. From the bronchiole, we go out to the alveoli. And the alveoli you can't actually see on Clarence because they're so tiny, they're too small to be able to show at the end. But at the end of each of those branches, where the branches come to the veins and the arteries throughout the lung, that's where you'll find the alveoli. And here at the bottom, that big muscle there is called the diaphragm. And what happens there is it pulls down, which drags air into your lungs, and then when you've had a lungful, it pushes back up and pushes the air out. And there is, I think, the last part of our respiratory system. So we start with the nasal cavity, into the pharynx, down to the larynx, through the trachea, to the bronchi, to the bronchioles, till the alveoli, and all of these are worked by the diaphragm at the bottom that is pushing upwards and downwards. And again, Clarence, I'd like to say thank you very much for helping us understand the respiratory system. Now, if you want to understand how to remember all of these new names and words that we're talking about now, hang about, and I'll be back in just a moment to show you how I have worked out how to remember all of these new names. Thank you, Clarence. Love your work. Welcome back. As I said, Clarence and I, after talking you through the respiratory system, realised that it's actually really hard to remember. Do you think it's pretty hard to remember? Because when you look at it, where's my thing gone? There it is, my pointer. When you look at it, we've got the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, the bronchioles, the alveoli, and the diaphragm, all as a part. And then we've also got the lungs written in there, but that's not a part of anything that we're going to remember because we all remember the lungs, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, I should introduce my partner in crime here today. This is Violet. Violet's a grade 9 student and is going to show us how to easily remember the names of the respiratory system. There's several different memory techniques that you can use, and the one we're going to use today is turn it into a song. So what we have done is we've taken a verse of Waltzing Matilda and we have put all of those words through it. And it's turned out really great, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And Violet's going to sing it for us while I point up here. So how about we do the first verse?
Yep.
So go for it.
Once a jolly swagman, breathing by the billabong, underneath the shade of his nasal cavity.
Nasal cavity.
Larynx as he watched and waited till his larynx coiled, you'll come a waltzing trachea with me. Waltzing trachea.
I thought you were going to sing.
I am. No,
Okay.
I'm not.
Come on, let's sing it. Okay, but because the tune really helps, and I think you've gotten a little bit shy, haven't you? But that's cool. We'll try. Do you want to do it together?
Yeah, we'll do it
Okay,
together.
I'll lead. You ready?
Yeah.
Once a jolly swagman, breathing by the billabong, under the shade of his nasal cavity. Pharynx. Oh, I should stop and tell. What I've done is I've named the swaggy Pharynx. That's his name. Perfect name for a swagman, isn't it?
Yes.
Shall we start again? Okay. Once a jolly swagman, breathing by the billabong, under the shade of his nasal cavity. Pharynx he watched and waited till his larynx coiled. You'll come a waltzing trachea with me. Waltzing trachea, waltzing trachea. You'll come a waltzing trachea with me. Pharynx he watched and waited till his larynx coiled. You'll come a waltzing trachea with me. You nearly said Matilda.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what we've got all the way down in that first verse, thank you. In that first verse, we've gone nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, and trachea. So now we're going to move on to the second verse and pick up all of those other words. A big part of this is actually playing around with it yourself and making up your own song. But if you want to borrow ours, you're welcome to. Shall we move on to the second verse?
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Down to the bronchi, passing through the bronchioles, up jumped the diaphragm and pushed back with glee. Did you see what I did there? Because the diaphragm actually does push back, doesn't it? Start again.
Yep.
Down to the bronchi, passing through the bronchioles, up jumped the diaphragm and pushed back with glee. Alveoli laughed and shoved the oxy through her tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing alveoli.
I keep trying to say Matilda.
I know you do. But after we get used to it, you'll completely forget the other song because this is going to be a classic, isn't it? Okay. Shall we do that one again?
Yeah.
Okay. Down to the bronchi, passing through the bronchioles, up jumped the diaphragm and pushed back with glee. Alveoli laughed and shoved the oxy through her tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
You said Matilda.
I said Matilda that time. You'll come a waltzing alveoli. Waltzing alveol, waltzing alveol. You'll come a waltzing alveoli. Alveoli laughed and shoved that oxy through her tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing alveoli. There we go. Do you think that's a pretty good way to remember words that you don't know?
Yeah.
Fit them into a song. You think so?
Yeah.
You think you'll remember those?
Yeah, I think I will now.
You think you will now? It is good fun. So if you want to, I'll add the words to this little song to wherever we put up this video, and you're welcome to use our song. Or if you want to make up your own using this or that's the respiratory system, or the digestive system, or the circulatory system. If you want to put them to song and let us see those songs, we would love to see them. Violet, thank you very much. Say thank you to Clarence.
Thank you.
He gets very embarrassed because he's not dressed or anything.
No.
You know? Yeah, it's a bit of a concern. To remember new words, put them to a song. See you later.
Bye.